All right, this is Keep Press and Play podcast, episode six.
I believe it's 6.
Yeah, it's 6. We just dropped a video.
4.5.
We got another one dropping before this one will drop.
Right.
We did trying to keep up with the content, even though kind of got behind. Some of that was just as in relation to the last video we talked about. Yeah. I just didn't charge the mic, so we had bad mics and
Lost that footage. No voicing over that. So that kind of put us behind as far as getting content out. But we're trying to keep it coming at you guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed our chats, our talks. Like we always say, feel free to like, subscribe, share, leaving a comment down below. Let us know if there's something that you would like for us to talk about. And obviously, we would be more than willing to try to touch on that subject.
Yeah, and when you subscribe, hit the little notification.
Little bell.
The little bell. And I know this sounds like a plea, but honestly, we're doing it because we enjoy it, but we want to grow this channel. We want this channel to be more than just us sitting around and talking, which I enjoy, but we want it to be more. And so for us to grow as a channel, we really do need help from our few 15 subscribers that we have right now. You know,
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
People watch it.
I was gonna say, I mean,
because we're getting some, we get views.
We're getting some views, but
subscribing, sharing, just putting a comment, even if it's just like thumbs up, it helps our page. So I'm not gonna continue to
try to promote and push, but we would appreciate it if you guys would help out. But yeah, so episode 6. So on the episode 4, we had talked about some pretty neat things. And one of those topics, obviously, we want to retouch on today. You can see that we're in person. Cody and I both felt like that this topic deserved an in-person versus, you know, some of the ones that we've done via Zoom call or Teams call or whatever. So I don't know if you want to jump right into it or if you got anything additional to say.
Well, so we're going to talk about last season's elk hunt. We and killing my first bull with the bow. Talk about some of those experiences, and this may be a multi podcast situation. I really, like I said in the last podcast, I like to get Blaine on. I'd love to have me and you and like maybe have a string with Blaine on, just
like a continuation.
Just continue and hear it from his perspective. You know, well, speaking of Blaine, congratulations to him. He just finished his ultra yesterday. I think it was 32 some odd miles. So shout out to that guy. He's going to be ready to pound out some miles in the woods. Yeah. And so he's, I've been staying on him about broadheads. So I think he's going to go Iron Wheel Grim Reaper combo, which I'm like, dude, there's nothing wrong with that combination there.
I mean, that's what I ran.
That's the tried and true. So I think he went with the 125 wads. So shout out to Blaine. As I said in the last one, I cannot wait to watch you just crumble in emotion. It's going to be, because, you know, he's not an emotional guy. That's why I say that. You know, I say that just to mess with him. But
you guys are going to be boo-hooing.
So
jumping up and down. I love you, man.
Yeah. No, man. It's the only thing to make it better is if you be there, like I said. So surprise, Megan. Camera's going.
Yeah. Yeah, we won't revisit that one.
Did you see my Instagram post? It was like something about don't ask me for advice because you'll end up elk hunting or something like that.
Yeah.
I sent it to Carly and Cole, Carly who I work with, and her boyfriend Cole. So, or her fiance Cole. And I was like, is that true or what? Because like we were at the retirement party for Bev at work, and me and him just started talking about hunting. He's like bow hunting and stuff too, and I was like,
so now you got to go out west.
I was like, you got to elk hunt, and Carly's like, no, stop, stop, and I'm like, no, you got to do it. So, and it's just one of those things which that's kind of what got me going initially anyway, it was like, I better go before the Lord comes back, you know? Like,
right.
I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but I was like, I gotta do it. That's kind of a quarter life or half life crisis, whatever, depends on how long the Lord blesses me with life. But
yeah,
I was like, if I don't do it now, I'm never gonna do it. And then like Blaine was talking about moving to Alaska, so I was like, I gotta go, I gotta do it now, I gotta do it now.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was like, I missed like the prime elk hunting by like what, 3-4 years maybe before everybody got into it.
Yeah,
because like I feel like I remember Dan saying on a podcast or something, he just like remembers it was like 2018, 2019 or something when he like couldn't just go to the store and get his second tag in Idaho anymore, which that'll be big changes in Idaho this year. It's going to a draw like Colorado.
Yeah, so
that's in December. Speaking of draw, I got to put it for Pennsylvania, but I wanted to talk to you about what you put in for before I put in. It ends this next week.
Yeah, like
the 28th or something.
No. I think 24th? You got to be in.
I got an alert from.
I thought by the 20th.
I don't think it's the 20th. I think it's
because they're gonna announce the draw the 26th.
Maybe it's the 24th then. I'll look at it when we finish this pod.
But yeah, so that's my last hope. Some, I guess, Eastern elk hunting, but I'll take it. Hunting elk's hunting elk.
I don't care.
So,
don't matter to me.
I put in for archery season and just mid general season in Pennsylvania. Put in for both of those draws. Didn't have much time to do a whole lot of e-scouting, but kind of was just looking at historical statistics from the zones that they offer and just figured I'd give it my best shot. So I got in for that, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. So
yeah,
July 26th, they will announce the winners of that draw. So fingers crossed, maybe.
Yeah. But I'll at least be hunting elk this year in Colorado.
Yeah, you already secured one tag.
Back to the same spot. I told Blaine, I was like, if we tag out early, slide on over to Utah if you're down.
Yeah, because that's pretty rightly close to.
Yeah, there's some spots I've e-scouted that I'm like, definitely together we could do that. Dan said it would be hard solo.
I think it's like a couple hours to get over into Utah. From where you're at.
But where I was e-scouting, it would probably be, depends on how you got to drop through the mountain range, but it would probably still be at least 8, maybe 10 hours of driving. But I'm already out there.
Yeah.
But that depends on. That means we're tagging out fast and we still got gas in the chamber too. Because not like I'm just gonna tag and like we joked in the last pod, like, all right, Blaine, have a good one.
All right.
Have fun figuring out elk by yourself and packing elk out by yourself.
Yeah.
Sorry about it, buddy.
I got another tag to fill, man.
You're in shape. Gotta go. But I'm not gonna do that to him. But so we'll see what happens. But yeah.
That's the only one you've been able to secure thus far, right? Though.
Yeah. I haven't drew anything else. And some of those places, like, I just didn't get into Arizona. I didn't get into New Mexico. But I'm behind on the application, like getting in, and every state does everything a little different.
Yeah.
So
I'm a big spreadsheet guy, so I created a spreadsheet and tried to put in, which, I guess it's kind of like redundant work since the Go Hunt guys kind of give you app deadlines and statistical stuff.
And you got Hunting Fool too, and
yeah, several others that are kind of doing the same thing.
But I do it all.
I got it on a local computer. Obviously, got it on my laptop, so it's localized. And I just add little notes and stuff in there as I kind of come across them and do research and whatnot. So there's try to keep up with as far as changes and stuff too, which I don't know that we want to get into it this podcast, but North Carolina's got some funky stuff they might be trying to push.
Yeah,
in the coming years.
I was just telling Adam's nephew yesterday about it. I'm like, what in the world, dude?
I mean, I get it, but what I don't agree with is the any weapon.
If you wanted to extend it and make it an archery only,
yeah,
that's about as dumb as Colorado putting a muzzleloader season in the middle of archery season.
Yeah,
it might even be more dumb than that. I don't know.
Yeah, especially only being 2.
So North Carolina's proposing
a velvet
buck
season.
A velvet buck season.
As far as we could understand, a 2-day velvet buck season in which you could take only buck, but it'll start the 4th week of August.
While they're still growing.
So 2 days, and based on what we understood is it would be with a weapon of any choice.
Any legal weapon.
So that means rifle, muzzleloader, bow, crossbow, whatever you choose, you would be able to take. It's essentially a velvet buck season is what I guess they're trying to call it, which it would be the 2 days, and you get to do whatever damage, I guess, in my opinion, if you're doing any kind of weapon, that's probably what it would be. But
the only way that makes sense in my mind is if you say, okay, now we're only going to go to a 1 or 2 week rifle season. Which I think, personally, that's the way I think it should be. The argument is that there's too many deer. They need to be taken out. Okay, well then do only non-antler deer only.
Yeah, that's what I was fixing to say.
Non-antler,
like you could take
rifle.
You could take does, but put a which obviously for any folks in NC that have, or North Carolina that have a hunting license, you're allotted at the current time, which this buck season would still be on those tags based on what I understood. You get 2 bucks a season and you get 5 doe with the option to purchase extra doe harvesting.
2 extra doe.
So
you can get
this velvet buck season, so you down one in this 2-day velvet buck, that would be one of your bucks for the entire season. So
yeah. Which, I mean, there's pluses and there'd be minuses. I just don't get shooting rifle early. If you want to do an early season, it's not like this is a high elevation mule deer early rifle hunt.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're just gonna literally wipe out. I don't know.
I guess it. What I read on is they kind of want to get it before they're into the rut. But I mean, if you want bucks before the rut, then bow hunt. That's kind of the way I see it. Nothing against rifle hunters, but I think if you had 2 days where you're just firing shots at whatever velvet buck, I think it's going to kind of mess up bow season coming in right after that. So
they would act so weird. They already know, they know when season starts.
Oh, and it's I'll say based on hunting obviously you guys know that, I purchased 23 acres, and last year was the first year that I was able to hunt it. And having hunted last year and seeing the total dynamic switch from archery, yes, they were alert during archery season, but you start getting those guns firing and it becomes, I mean, I don't know. I've always thought, you hear the guns, obviously you know that season's right around the corner. Archery is obviously far more of a quiet weapon option, so it's not like, even if you're getting kills in archery season,
if you're not spooking them up, they don't feel the pressure.
Right. Yeah. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And then like after rifle season came in, I could totally see a dynamic switch in them.
Because I know they're hunted. They're pressured.
Yeah.
And they've been shot at, and they've smelled a bunch of humans, and so, but anyway,
but that's kind of what we're talking about as far as NC trying to push some stuff. There's another that they're trying to push through, a second that didn't study quite as much, but the 2-day velvet. Wasn't there a second bill that they were trying to push through?
I didn't read into it anymore.
I just kind of studied the velvet buck season, but that's what we were alluding to there. But we ran that rabbit to say what we originally started on. I'm a spreadsheet guy, as far as like budgeting and that sort of thing, which I have to use it a lot for, work. So it just kind of makes sense to me. I'm able to put visuals and stuff together. So, but I keep all the elk application stuff in an Excel spreadsheet. So I'm that nerd.
Nothing wrong with it. So, but yeah. So back to hunting elk, killing elk. Be going back to the same spot. Said it before. That's where we're gonna start anyway. If the elk aren't held up there, right, we'll pivot. We'll move to a different area, whether that's same general spot or we got 2 units to cover.
Yeah.
So I mean, I got lots of places
lots of country that you could default to.
But yeah, we're going to start where we finished. And I think that there's elk still held up in there based on where I went in and how I accessed it and how people tend to access that area and where they get pressured from. And that just gets into like, Mark would say zones of pressure and stuff like that. I don't want to give too much of his stuff away, but
yeah,
it's great stuff to study. It's definitely made me a better hunter over the years. And honestly, if I'm being honest with myself, I haven't done as much as I think I should. I've went through it, but you know what I mean? Like
touch and go type thing.
That's just how I am as a learner too. Like,
yeah,
I'd rather like just read something. Yeah, I don't know, but I have gone through it and I listen to it, and I doubt he ever listens to our podcast, but if he does and he sees live like what you've done, so he's probably like looked at mine and like,
I've heard him say he could see.
He's probably looked at mine and be like, Cody's skipping know your limitations, but I do know how to know my limitations. I haven't always known that, but I try not to have limitations.
He's got a good course, and obviously he says, his stuff builds on the previous, and yes, he could see live stuff, but yeah, I mean, your limitations.
Yeah. Did you? I just listened to the podcast he did with Dan. That was a pretty good podcast.
I hadn't got a chance to listen to it yet.
I listened to it on the way to the beach. So
yeah,
but But yeah.
Yeah. So, well, with that, why don't you segue into your kill from last year, your bull?
Well, easy as pie. Got on elk, shot the elk. That was it. Is that podcast?
That's how you do it, guys.
Mic drop.
I mean, you heard it from him. He did it. He just got on the elk, shot him. That was it.
That was it. It was easy. You know?
Yeah.
It only took,
10 days.
10 days and I don't know, 80, 90 miles later.
Yeah.
At least. That'd be conservative. I mean, probably closer to 90 or 9. Well, yeah. So we'll say 85 to 100 miles. We'll say 85 just to be very conservative.
That's all you got to do, guys. That's it. You heard it. Guess we'll check out and
that's it. Mic drop. Put a lot of weight in your back and just go around the mountain and
you just gotta do it, guys.
Just keep running circles until you find the elk, right? Only Blaine will get that. Which I guess let's just start at the beginning.
Go for it.
So
take it over.
First day I get there, I'm like, dude, what have I got into? Why is there so many people at this trailhead? And it wasn't even like a trailhead. Like there wasn't even that many people on this road because it's really hard to get down this road. And I'm like backing up, pulling up, looking at the sign. I'm like, is this? This said it was legal for a truck to go down, but I am not sure. That looks like that is impassable with a vehicle. I was like, well, we're just going to send it because it's supposed to be truck friendly. And so I got going down that road and I stopped and I stopped somebody coming back up on a foiler and I was like, hey, does this road get better? And he was like, oh no, it gets worse. Then it gets better. He's like, it gets real worse though. But after that, it gets a little better. That road was rough, bro. And so I was like, I couldn't even get to the spot that I wanted to. So I had to just stop. And I don't have a four-wheeler or a dirt bike. So I parked and kind of listened to see if I heard any bugling around that night. I didn't. And I was like, well, I better, get some stuff together. So first day, I just started heading the direction that I wanted to go, which is 9 or 10 miles away.
It's good haul.
Yeah. So get up there, which I can't say that I did it completely on foot that day. I had these guys that were bear hunting that picked me up. They're like, you got anywhere you want to go? And I was like, well, I was walking to the top of that mountain. If you want to drop me up there and drop me off. He's like, yeah, jump on. So I jumped on and rode with him just to cover some country, just to look and see what was going on. And we went really far. And then, I kept getting off and doing little sound checks, see if something stirred up. So ended up, I was like, drop me back down. It was probably about another half a mile. I said, drop me back down and drop me off there. That's where I'm going to be. And then I'll figure my way back to camp tonight. He's like, you sure? It's a long ways. I was like, oh yeah. So the first night I was there, I was already on cow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was pretty far up there. And that was a long walk back. And, so if I got back, Blaine wasn't there yet. He got there in the middle of the night that night, 2 a.m. or something or another. And so we started hunting next day, and it took us a good maybe 2 days to get things really figured out. And then we were just working up the mountain. As the thermals were pulling down early in the morning, getting to this top where I thought they were bedding. And just kind of off of the ways a little bit. And we'd sit there, and I had actually found a Mylar balloon there, which is another confirmation for me, and fresh bed poop. And I was like, "Blaine, they're bedding right here. I know they are." So we kept running that every day. And then what we'd do is we'd sit there, and then we'd hear them bed bugle, and then the thermals would be pulling pretty strong at that point. We'd drop in on them. So you drop in on these elk, man. I can never forget that first encounter with that big herd bull. And what had happened was he popped off. There was 2 bulls in there, and I didn't recognize that at the beginning. So I got there on them, and so it was kind of throwing us off because like one bugle here, and then I'm like, dang, he covered a lot of ground fast.
Yeah.
But I wasn't putting it together at the time that it was 2 elk. I thought they were moving.
Right.
But it was a satellite and a herd bull fighting over cows.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And which at least one cow. I mean, I don't know if there was more than one cow, but I got in the mix, and I had Blaine. I said, like, that bull was just bugling, and then he was just pushing his cow to try to get him off of this other bull, pushing up to their bedding spot. And I was like, Blaine, we got to go. We're going fast. So like, we were hustling for about 1.5 miles trying to just shadow them and keep up with them. And then I would sound check just to see where they were, just do a little location bugle and see where they were. And he'd tell me, and we'd keep going. So when we finally got set up on them, because they did exactly what they did it perfect. This is exactly like I just
had studied.
Yeah, they're trying to circle around you. They're trying to get the wind in their favor. They're trying to get the thermals in their favor, and they're in a tough spot where they're hard to get to.
Yeah,
and so. Like they're right here, and we're like doing one of these to be able to get to them because of the wind and the thermals.
Right.
So I got Blaine up behind me, and I was like, just keep me in your view and rake. And if I tell you to stop, just stop. And then just rake and just keep me about 40, 50 yards from you and stay in my downwind to try to pull the bull across me.
Yeah.
And so I finally get upset in the spot. These bulls are just over this ridge. Like, I know they're there. I heard them bugle. I felt them bugle. And I'm ranging a tree. I'm like, okay, 30 yards. Perfect. He's coming right over that ridge. And I had just put an arrow on it. I turn around, and there's the big herd bull, like, staring at me 30 yards away. And I'm like, what? Frontal. And I know Denzel's like, don't take the frontal, but I'm like, I'm a good shot. I'm putting this in his chest.
Yeah.
So he looks at Blaine, because Blaine's raking. When he looks at Blaine, I clip. Because at that point, I hadn't even had a chance to clip. I just got through ranging. And I clip, and then he looks back at me. And then I'm like, I'm about to draw. And it was like, the minute I said that in my head, it was like, all of a sudden, next thing I know, he's whirling. And I was just like, yeah. And then I think I barked chuckled at him, and he stopped at 70. It was like 70 something yards, but not because I ran to where he was. And then I hit him with like a bark chuckle, and he immediately braked, and he turned, and I was like, can I get this shot? And I was like, they didn't stop long enough. And then he kept going. He kept running again. And then I just did like an alarm bark at him, just a loud bark. And then that's when he stopped and he turned, and then he just lifted his head up and back, and I just saw how far back his tines went, like all the way to his hams almost. And I was like, oh my God, what kind of bull is that? Like I didn't even recognize how big he was when he was in front of me. He's a big bull.
Yeah.
And so, but kept running that same play, and I had at least 6 encounters with that bull over the following days.
And for those watching, if you've elk hunted, you know that that's how it has to happen. You know, some people are lucky and they get it on their first encounter, but that's where your experience comes in with those encounters.
So much experience, so much learning, because it was like what kept happening to me was either A, I could not get a clean shot
Vital shot, yeah.
Or they would just get on me so fast, and I'm like, I don't even have time to draw. Like, yes, you can draw, and then might turn around, and you maybe can stop them. But if you spook them up, they're done. They're out of
right.
You know, so I'm like, I'm trying to. It's always that balance, and so we got into. I had him at like 20, 25 yards, just through baby aspen, and on that day I had him worked up pretty good, and he was just pacing back and forth, and he's panting, peeing all over himself, like
he was mad,
unbelievably mad.
He was ready to fight.
He was so mad, but then he couldn't, because I had shut up, because I had gave my last bugle. I'd get it like I screamed at him. He was just so mad. He was raking, and I closed in on him, and then I was just like through all this baby aspen that I'm staring at him. I'm not gonna take a bad shot. Like,
yeah, chance.
I just couldn't do it.
Losing him.
So then after he didn't see what he wanted to see, and I wasn't at this point trying to make a noise because I was in the zone, you know. He started to kind of loop back around to where the last noise was, and I was like, dang, he gets there, he will win me. So what I'm having to do is, me and this bull are kind of, he's just going this way, and I'm running right beside him, and I'm keeping an eye on him as I'm like bushwhacking through this brush with my arrow out, just waiting on the next shot. And I chased that bull. Blaine, when you watch this, you'll remember it. And Blaine was like, dude, I couldn't even keep up with you. I didn't even know where you were. I thought I was going to lose you. I was like, I'd have found you. We'd have found each other. But he gave me one shot. And even despite me being in shape and ready, and it was like a 70-something yard shot uphill. It was like kind of quarter way. He like stood on top of the hill and looked back down at me like, you stupid two-legger. And then he just went. But I didn't have that. I could have not made that shot. Like, not in that situation. I didn't feel comfortable with that. And you know, I'm a good shot, and I'm in decent good shape too.
I guess even being a good shot, depending on what your thermals are doing, I don't know. I feel like uphill shots are a little more challenging. You have more potential for wind to.
It could have. That's not what I was worried about. I just couldn't
get a good shot.
I just didn't feel like I had a good shot, and I just did not feel like, if that was at 40 yards, maybe a different situation. But I think it was 73 or 78. It was not a great shot. He wasn't calm. He wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, it was not a good shot for me.
Right.
And so I was like, no, I'm not. I'm just gonna crest this top of this ridge, and we'll meet together. Well, I kept going, and I went as hard as I possibly physically could. And then eventually me and Blaine met up, and that I never could get that bull. He just kept going up the mountain, and I could not keep up with him. And then I was like, he bedded there. And so then Blaine's like, well, why don't you just rest, man? You're pretty tired. And I was like, I can't rest. He's like, just like 30 minutes, just rest your body, and then we'll go after it. And there's a picture of me like just laying on a log. Like, I gave, at this point, I don't know, it's probably like day 4 or 5. We've been going pretty hard. Sleep, you know how it is. I'm sleeping about 2-3 hours a night. I was gassed.
Yeah.
And so took a quick little nap, and Blaine's like, do you feel better? And I was like, no. So the only way for us to get to that bull, no matter which way we went, where he was at, thermals. Which, after I finished this story, I need to back up. Let me finish the first story. So after that bull turned, I saw his tines. Again, he's in where that bull likes to hang up is like, he's in a place where no matter where you go, it pulls to him.
Sucking down.
And that's why he's in there.
Yeah.
So, but for us to get back to that bull after he spooked off, we had to go all the way back around this ridge. There was no other way to get at him except to go all the way back around the way we came in. Only way. So that's what we did, and we went back up there, and then we're sitting on this ridge. I was just kind of waiting on him, and there he goes. He pipes off, and again, he was in another one of those situations. It was like everything's fine, and when you get like to this point, it starts to do something funky, and you're like, all right, let's back up.
Yeah.
And then next thing I know, see this guy walking up down out the bottom, and I was like, it's whatever, it's public land, you know?
Yeah.
And so I wave at him, I wanted him to see me, and he starts to make his way towards us. And he said, did you hear that guy? And I was like, what guy? He was like, that bugle. I was like, no, that wasn't a guy, that was an elk. It was super guttural, like, he felt it. Like, he was right there. I was like, we've been on this elk all day. He was like, oh, I seen the satellite and the cow earlier. I spooked that cow out. And then that's when I had realized that bull spooked because he spooked the cow, which spooked the satellite, which is what I initially thought I was shooting. And I didn't even realize that there was a herd bull with that satellite bull that was with that cow. And right after all that happened, Blaine had heard it too. The worst cow call I'd ever heard in my life. And I was like, what was that? I don't know what that was, man. I was like, that had to be a person, man. And it turns out it was this guy. And he was just doing laps. He was like, yeah, you want to see my laps? And he was just like, he had just shown me where he was just running circles in that area. Whatever. And I think as a whitetail hunter, you know, sometimes I am a little less aggressive. But I'm always like, if you don't bump them out, they'll stay there. Like, you just got to play it smart.
Yeah.
But this guy was just doing laps. And, but he had actually been what blew up that first situation. He blew up the cow, which blew up the satellite, which blew up the herd bull. It never was me. It never was anything. I would have probably shot that bull. But he had heard, because we were bugling a little bit back and forth, bugling and chuckling, and I had that bull worked up, which was fun. I enjoyed that very much.
Right.
Blaine did too.
Yeah.
And, but it was fun because I had this bull fighting this bull, and now I'm the third bull as far as they think. So you got 3 ticked off bulls, 2 of which are real, and it was a party. It was awesome. And, but then I recognized that, and anyway, so then we go back up. I kept hunting this bull, you know, and that day he went back up, and I was like, it was again in those situations like, Blaine, for us to get to him above us, there's nowhere that we can get to him where he's bedded right there that he's not going to smell us. So we do the long out and around, and we try to come in over top of this bull. Dude, we were, you can ask Blaine, within 20 yards of this bull. Couldn't see him because we were coming through oak brush.
Okay.
Thick. We just literally walked right past the dude. Like, because guess where he came out? Oh, we just walked right through that spot. But he was somewhere bedded up in there, and because we were above him and the thermals were pulling up and the wind was pulling in our favor, he never smelled us. He never heard us. If he heard us, he ignored us. And then there he is. Then Blaine got to see him for the first time with his eyes. And he was like, bro, you said he was big. Like, I didn't realize how big you said this bull actually was. Like, I didn't understand. He was like, that bull was crazy big. And that day, I worked that bull. I had left my bugle tube. I worked him with a water bottle. A water bottle, like, let me grab this for the viewers. It was like this, or it was actually, I think, like a LeBlue. And I just took my knife and cut the bottom off. and I just used it like a bugle tube, and I worked that bull, man. It was it was crazy. But there were some hunters that came in on us that night, and I dropped in. I had this bull about 50 yards, and I just lost light. Like, I literally was watching him move through the brush, and I was like ready to draw on him, and I just couldn't make it happen. So then we came back again after that bull. Those guys we met, they were like, dude, look, you've been in there on this bull. Like, we're going to back out. We're going to just let you have this spot. Like, we're going to get out your hair. Yeah. We're sorry that we even messed your hunt up tonight. I was like, no problem. It's public land is what it is, but appreciate you.
Right. Yeah.
Well, we ran our same play again the next day. There's our bull, bugling in his bed. We drop in on him. Nasty storm blows up. These dudes, and I recognized them from their bugling and chuckling the night before. They're just running all over off the top of this ridge. Just a total external read. Not a great bugle, not a great chuckle. Didn't sound good. That place was dead. I hunted that spot again for 2 more days without anything. And we had been on elk every single day in that spot. So, you know, there I am getting pretty discouraged because at that point, Blaine had left. I'm running this play by myself. It's pretty far in there. I'm not bivvying in. Kind of getting down, pretty discouraged. And I kind of overslept a little bit. And all good things happen for a reason. But I was getting up and I'm like, it's gray light. Like, I should already be at my spot. Right. And then I hear a bugle the other direction that I wasn't going to go that day. And me and Blaine had already been on a bugle that first night up in there. Mm-hmm. And just never could close on that bull. And I was like, okay, that's real. We're going after that.
Yeah.
So I got on him, and my first encounter with that bull, I overshot a little bit. And so then, I don't know if he smelled me, heard me, whatever. He spooked up a little bit, and he kind of clammed up. So I didn't get on him. That was the same day. So I only hunted that bull 2 days. But I had 3 encounters over that 2 days with that satellite bull. So I worked back up to get to the spot, and there's this meadow, and I had this bull. I gotta go back and look at my stuff. I should have revisited that. But I was at the top of the meadow, and I had him raking. Like, he was slinging trees down at that bottom. Mm-hmm. And I just couldn't get him to work up. I think that was the next morning. I don't think that was the next morning. Anyway, so then I go up. I get an encounter with that bull on frontal. I was raking a tree, and I turn around, and there he is at 50 yards looking at me like this. And I couldn't get him to play anymore. And so then I work up. Storm blows up. The way that was running that time, it was a storm every day about, I don't know, somewhere between 1 and 4 o'clock. It was a nasty storm blowing up. So I'm sitting under my tarp. Because, I mean, I don't mind hunting in the rain, but, like, these are nasty storms.
Yeah.
And sitting under the tarp, you know, I just take a little nap. I wake up, and I hear a bugle. I had just sent you a message. And I was just kind of like, dude, I don't even know what to do.
Yeah.
I'm so defeated right now. Like, it's just time after time getting on elk and just not been able to get a shot.
Yeah.
And the elk bugles, I was like, okay, that's real. So I go in. This is a big herd. And this bull is even bigger than the last bull.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to, like, stay off on the edge. And I first seen a cow, and I'm like, okay, cow. Okay, another cow. Cow. Big bull. Big bull. And I had counted 8 cows that I could visualize. 2 spikes. Big boy just sitting on top, just
making
doing
sure
this
everything
thing.
was right.
So I'm like 220 yards at this point. And so I was like, let me see if I can pull him off. So I started to do calf calling, lost calf calls. And here comes that spike. And he's like, yeah, what's up? Where's the girls at? You know, like,
yeah.
I'm like, daggone it, stupid spike. So he kept coming around me, and then he'd come back and try to figure out what was going on a second ago. And I'm like, dude. So I'm here trying to work to this herd while I'm trying to worry about this stupid spike, you know.
Spotting and blowing you out.
Yeah. And so it was windy enough, and I was in this aspen grove. And so when the wind would blow, I had the wind in my face, and then I kept walking, sneaking in, stalking, and when it would stop, I'd pause. And I'd try to figure out where everybody is, what everybody's doing. So I closed down to 80. So I closed from about 220 to 80. And I'm like, I could shoot this bull. He's totally calm. But just a bunch of brush right in front of his bottles, and all I can see is butts and antlers and head. And I'm like, well, if I get to this spot 30 yards away, that will keep the brush out of my way. I'll get a clean shot. And it was like shortly after that, head cow on the hill, which people don't realize it's the cow that runs the herd, not the bull. The bull thinks he runs the herd, but really it's the matriarch cow. And she's like, meow, 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 meow. And then next thing, everybody just starts following and going up the mountain. Well, the young ones are hanging back as like sentries is what I call them. So I'm sitting here getting the pause button while Mr. Spike and two shawties is just hanging back trying to, you know, blow everything up.
Yeah.
So I'm having to wait them out until they move a little bit so that I can move a little bit, as the main herd is just kind of doing their thing, going.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, I get to a spot, Spike and the cow peel off to the left. And I'm like, the last place I saw the herd was go to the right. What do I do? I was like, they've been following the herd. I'm going to follow themselves. Well, turns out that Spike did pull off the cow. And then, you know, that wasn't where the herd was.
Right. Yeah.
So, but I never get another chance at that bull. That cow was barking at moo cows. She did not like the moo cows had went through their spot. So then I got to play around with doing some bark vocalizations, because then I was barking back, you know, because I thought she was barking at me at first.
Mm-hmm.
So I chuckled back just to be like, I want you to come out. You know, I was trying to see how they react to that.
Mm-hmm. It's
not like you get that scenario a lot. And so anyway, nothing ever happened of that. That Spike and that cow peeled off. I think it was two cows. And I'm walking back in the dark, and I'm like, dang, man. But that was fun. I'm blessed. You know, like that was awesome. I'm going to come back. I'm going to get on this herd tomorrow, hopefully.
Yeah.
And as I was going out, I bumped up something in that same spot where I'd had that bull raking that morning, just the side of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I think I bumped that same elk. He's up in this spot. He's staying in this spot.
Yeah.
I'll come back in the morning. I'm gonna kill that bull in the morning. And I ran into a mountain lion that night. Did I ever tell you about that?
I can't remember if you told me or not.
So I was going through the meadow, and there's moo cows there. And I always walk in red light. You know, I never walk out with anything other than red. And I see eyes glowing like on the edge of this meadow, like just inside the brush, just inside the edge of the woods. And it's like hiding behind brush. And I'm like, kind of looks like a cat. I'm not sure. So I pull up my phone, and I'm like zooming in on it with my red light.
Oh yeah, you did show me that.
And I was like, yeah, that does look like a cat. I was like, I'm gonna turn it to white light and see. And so then I turn my Peaks headlamp to white light, and there's that cat just standing there. And I thought it was the female that was there with kittens, and she just hooked off left. And I was like, oh buddy, that was. And so anyway, so I came back to that next spot the next morning, feeling pretty confident, working up. and then almost the exact same spot where I bumped that bull the night before, because I kind of tried to take a wider route with the way the wind was doing that morning. Stirred something up, and I was kind of just walking up the mountain, just doing like calf calls and raking, which is, I think, the least invasive thing you can do. And I've had great success with pulling bulls in with.
Right.
And then that bull kind of stirs up. I think he barked at me, like I scared it. So then I hit him with a bark chuckle. And after I did the bark chuckle, I switched and I went estrus whine. And I was like,
yeah.
And then after I did that a little bit, I just hit it with a quick, like, tinning bugle. And then I heard that bull walking, and I was like, I know where he's going. There's an opening right there. I stood at the top of that meadow as he raked the bottom of that meadow the day before, and he's going to get down there, and he's going to look down. He wants to see these cows. So I'm just hauling tail over to this spot below, where I was like, if I can get here, I can shoot him there. He's going to cross. He has to cross. That's the only way he can cut through there. And so I get there and I see him, like, I see his butt come out, like, through, I could see the brown in the brush. And so I was like, not going to make the mistake I've been making. I'm not going to get jammed, and he's looking. Yeah. So I go ahead and draw.
Yeah.
I don't have a line. I mean, so I walk 5 or 6 yards to the left and 2 or 3 yards forward, and he's just looking down. And I'm like, oh, hey, I'm about to shoot this bull. But he wanted to see that cow.
Yeah.
So he was kind of like quarter to, looking down, and then he was like, I don't see it. And he started to turn. As he started to turn, it was like quarter away. And I was like, which when I first drew, by the way, like, my nose was freezing cold. It was like 27 that morning.
Yeah.
I couldn't feel my nose button. I had buck fever like I've never had in my life. And I was just like, bring it together. You know how to do it. You know how to do it. So I'm like, I'm anchored. I'm like, nose button. I can't feel my nose. I can't feel my nose. And I'm like, all right, you got it. You got it. And I just slid to 50 because I was like, if I can get to this spot, it'll be 50 yards. So I just slid my pin to 50, which I was running like a 34, 40 something, 50 pin initially. But I slid to my top pin to be 50. And so I put it straight on and sent it. And then all I heard was just running and just sticks breaking.
Yeah.
So I send you a message and I say, well,
he said, this is what, so I'm at work and I guess it's about 10 o'clock our time. So
at 7:15 about when I shot him.
Okay. So like 9:15 here. He was like, bro, I just shot at a bull.
And he's like, congrats.
And I was like, heck yeah, dude. Awesome. That's so good. It's like, I'm so happy for you, buddy. He was like, no. I shot, but I'm like 99% sure I missed. I'm like, no way, dude. I'm like, how far? He was like 50 yards. I was like, bro, that's a chip shot for you. I said, you hit him. You had to have hit him. I was like, there's no way that you missed from 50. No way.
I just didn't hear the whack. I didn't hear like that
like
sound like hitting a pumpkin.
Yeah.
No, I didn't hear that sound. All I heard was running.
Yeah.
And crashing, like sticks breaking.
Yeah. So he texted me. I'm like, bro, just chill out. I was like, I feel very certain that you hit him. Said, but if you didn't, look, give him some time. You saw where he went last, right? He was like, yeah, I saw him in the direction he went. I said, give him a minute. If you didn't hit him, you'll get back on him. You'll get him. I was like, you got this, brother. And so I guess that was like 9:15, 9:30, by 10 o'clock. It was probably before 9:45, honestly.
It was 7:38 when I walked up on him, I think.
Yeah, so that would have been right there at 9:40 our time. I'm getting a phone call, but I'm trying to finish up a meeting at work, a call, a Teams meeting. So finish that up, go back out, and before I could get to call him back, he's calling me again. I'm like, what's up? And he's like, yeah, so he was like, I shot him. I was like, he's down though. He's like, bull down, bull down. I said, yes. I was like, I knew it. I said, I knew it. I said, when you come back the second time, I said, something's up. I said, something's up. He must have found him. And so, yeah.
Yeah, so I was looking for my arrow, and I was like, there's no blood. I guess that arrow's gone, and I was like, smelling. I was like, so thermals are still pulling down for me, and before they flip, I seen where he went. I know where he likes to bed. I've been in his bed. I've been in his bedroom, which is right there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go after him. So I'm just going to use my smell. So, like, that was it. When I was standing where I shot him, I basically just crossed over a log. And when I stood up over that log, I saw him. And I had a beast ready for a follow-up just in case.
Yeah.
You know? And, like, I don't know if I threw my bow or what, but I lost it, man. Like, I'm not going to lie, I cried. I cried so hard because it was 6 years of so much work, so much effort, devoting my life to being a good hunter and a good bow hunter and a good elk hunter and learning and having that curve and doing it yourself and then finally making it happen. And it happened when I was by myself, day 10. And the only thing that I could think was just like, that was just God's blessing to me, because it wasn't that I did it in my skill. Yes, obviously, I've been blessed with skill. I've been blessed with talent, and I've worked for some of that. But it was like God just said, that's me, you know, and I lost it. And I just was like, thank you, God. Like, and if you never experienced that, like, I don't know if you'll understand it. And some people aren't emotional. I am an emotional person just generally. But yeah, dude, that was one of the most awesome moments of my entire life. Like, just walking up to that bull and just being able to touch him and just thanking God and just thanking that bull for his life. And the fact that he died, he went 39 yards.
Yeah.
I literally on Onyx marked where I shot him and then walked to where he was and did a line measurement. It was 39 yards. But that was like back to the last podcast. It's like when they're dead, I didn't have a blood trail. That was the 125 iron wheel single bevel wide.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of blood where he was at, but 39 yards, he ran for 1-2 seconds and he died.
Up. Yeah.
He died. And it was, you couldn't have asked for a more perfect shot. And then I started to break him down. And
meanwhile, I'm in a frenzy I had told him if he downed a bull, I'd come out there and help him pack it out. So as soon as he called me, I started looking at flights and stuff, and then trying to get logistics on who would keep my kids and who would pick them up from school. And then I wanted Megan to, which is my wife, I wanted Megan to come and be with us. It ended up not working out due to flight costs and just, you know, other logistics, childcare kind of falling through. But, you know, he was talking about the Lord giving him that bull. Obviously, the Lord wanted us to be here in Stanley County and at church because that Sunday my wife professed salvation. So everything does happen for a reason.
Yeah.
But it's pretty sad. Couldn't get out there and help you. But
it's all good.
Again, everything happens for a reason. So,
but Kellen flew out there, and I'd already had the bull packed down to the road, and I left it hanging at the road. And I was like, I'm just gonna go up in the morning and grab it, put it on ice. And then Kellen was banging on my window at 6 o'clock in the morning. I had went to bed. It was like, I didn't even get back to camp. It was probably like 11:30. And I was so tired. And then, like, I don't remember what time I went to sleep, but it couldn't have been before 2:30 or 3 o'clock. And then Kellen was banging on my window at 6, and I was like, oh,
go away.
Because I was just, you know, sleeping in the front seat like this, you know.
Yeah.
And, but then me and him, took his Jeep and we loaded the meat into the back of the Jeep and drove it back down to my truck, and we went and got dry ice and put it on dry ice, and then I caped out the skull and took the base plate off and all of that, and had my antlers and stuff ready to go back to North Carolina.
Yeah.
Salted the hide, and took a day to just kind of. Kellen wanted to see the kill spot, so I took him back to the kill spot and showed him Bear had already drug the body around, eat the guts out and stuff. And so even that night that I was back on that elk, there was another elk in there, and he was barking at me, which I'd already saw Bear that night anyway. I was called Katie in the middle of the meadow, and I was just like, hey Bear, because it was like standing right there.
Yeah.
And she's like, is there a bear there? And I was like, yeah, but it's good. We're good. Like, I'm not worried about the bear. I'm worried about this mountain lion that's hanging out in here I keep running into.
Yeah.
Because that was literally like 300 yards from where I killed my bull. So, but yeah, man, just an awesome experience and a lot of years of hard work. But, you know, I always feel confident going in. But it's like, I finally feel like
you were successful.
There
was definitely success in previous years. Obviously, you could look back at when you first started. I can look back at when I first started, and I can see growth in myself. So I know that you can. But when you sealed the deal, it was just
especially after so many encounters.
Yeah,
that was the thing. It was just, but I learned so much in my 10 days. Like just even in last season, it was like. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was just crazy. And so just so blessed, and I'm excited to get back in the spot. And, you know, I like seeing new spots, and I always think about old spots. And even on this last beach trip I just was on, just sitting around thinking about, I was listening to some of our old podcasts, and when I was like posting them on and everything and stuff too, and I'm just like, I just think about those spots, and I want to go back to that spot. But when you know an area, it just gives you that leg up. So I'm hoping we get in there, get on bulls, get killed fast.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I want, man. And so, but we'll just have to see. I'm excited. Like, dude, we are T-minus 5 weeks away.
Yeah, it's right around
and
the corner.
I'm just, like, trying to stay in shape, trying to stay healthy. And
we'll be here.
I got,
you know,
maybe like I got some meals still left over from last year, but I still got some meals that I want to order. Some of my faves, some Wild Society stuff, and some Pete's that I like. Still got some stuff that I'll eat, but I prefer the macros and stuff and other things.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then just ready to take off. So it's going to be here soon.
Yes, sir.
And, what we'll try to do is we'll try to bring as much content between now and then as possible.
Yeah.
Like I said, this podcast will be coming out after another one that we've already recorded. And then hopefully we'll just try to stay on things. But check out Sela Outdoors Instagram page.
Yeah.
On top of our YouTube page. Check out my page, CNSable_DDS. Cam_outdoorsman.
Yeah.
His page. And honestly, like, I guess I'll link in a couple things. Like, I'm now with Mountain Ops. So
congratulations. That's pretty big.
Check my profile.
I mean, we were already all about Mountain Ops.
You already liked them before. So, get yourself some Ignite. I run some BCAs.
Yeah.
And
shakers, apparel. They got the whole nine.
Some creatine, daily vitamins and supplements.
Some
love their gear and stuff. But check my link. There's a big sale right now. So my code Sable may only get you like free shipping right now because of the sale.
Mm-hmm.
But that still would have gave you 30% off total if you hit the link up. But they just had the big anniversary sale. So hopefully, if you order anything, you might win one of these giveaways they're giving away. And I used to be like kind of skeptical of these giveaways until
I
won the giveaway with Dan, and I've won a couple things just with Brian Call's little group that I listen to, and so that's fun. So I'm like, all right, you know, like you can win things, but you can't win it if you're not in it either.
Yeah.
So, but I hate like having to pay for stuff, which was a cool thing about Dan's. But if I'm already using Mountain Ops, why not? So, but Mountain Ops, I plugged in Dark Energy before. Great.
So Mountain Ops is Sable, our last name, SAB as in boy OL. Use that discount code if you head over to Mountain Ops and decide to buy anything. Use his discount code.
Dark Energy is Sable 10.
Dark Energy, so battery banks, that sort of thing. Sable, again, our last name, 1010, SAB as in boy, OL, 10. That'll get you a discount for the Dark Energy battery banks and all that they have to offer on their site.
Yeah. And it's just a discount code. No true, like, which the Rise bars, I mean, those are pretty good bars to
I'm not too familiar with.
Oh, I need to give you one. There's like 5 ingredients. They're super clean.
Okay.
It's either, I have to look at my code. That's either Sable 10 or Sable 15. I want to say it's Sable 15.
Anyways, we'll link it in the description. So that's the other bio. Rise bars. Check it out. They'll put the link in the description. Use his discount code. Save you some money. And obviously, I mean, he gets a little bit of kickback, but it's nothing crazy. But hopefully, it'll help you save some money, getting some good products.
Yep, and products that you know work. So, and here's the thing about Mountain Ops that I love is that they're a Christian-based organization.
Right. Yeah.
That matters to me.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's all about, people. So, I'll finish with that. You know.
Yeah.
And
like we said at the beginning, like, subscribe, share it, push your notification bell.
Hit the bell.
And until next time, keep pressing play, guys.
Keep pressing play. Have a good one.
Peace.
Oh, it wasn't even recording.